Shout out to Christian, the new guy. Welcome to the vlog. We stripped down that broken VQ that you saw that came out of the Street Takeover G37. Since we do bell housing machining for the VR swaps, this will be a lot easier to manage, just bolting it to a workbench and bolting the bell housings to the back of it, rather than having a block on a stand, or we've been using an old VQ engine over there. So I'm trying to section cut the whole block. So we're gonna see how that goes. Well, I had to flip it because it's too big for my bandsaw, but it's cutting. So we should be able to get 2/3 of the way there, and then I'll rotate it one more time and line up my cut line, and that should be it. It's worked a lot better than I expected so far. Filming yet? Got it?
Alright, we are recording.
Show this, so we couldn't get this little bit. So we're gonna try to dump it off the dock, see what happens. Ready?
Hang on. Sure.
Alright. Well, that was uneventful.
More than it was.
Oh yeah, it did spread over here, so.
Second time's the charm.
Hey! Nice.
I think I found the problem.
Sir, your radiator cap is attached to a piece of shit.
And honestly, it'd be kind of funny if they caught it like jumping back into frame just to happen.
Right?
You could piece together what happened.
Well, we can make a V4. Yeah, now I gotta cut the kernel. Alright, Caleb's been working on some of the finishing touches for Mr. Everson's, including some fender braces from Apex. So I got this side worked out. Turn the light on. Alright, so Apex fender brace number 1. And so you had to modify this thing a little bit to fit, right?
Yeah, the other side shows it better. But
oh yeah, there's a bead here, yeah. So you had to clock this to fit better, right?
Yeah.
But we think now that this side's been hit. Did you have to build a bunch of filler pieces?
On this
on the
side
bottom?
I did. On the other side you can see it.
Okay.
So I had to modify that one as well.
Yeah, snip that to rotate it.
And then I couldn't really get it to sit right. No matter what I did, there was always a gap here or there was a gap here. It was never flush to the corner, but there's also this panel here, which you can cut out, but it's also spot welded, so I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of metal there to fill. So I welded the metal to the car and then the metal to the plate. I'm gonna seam seal that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, it looks good.
There you go.
Did you weld that?
Yeah.
Man. Did you really weld it? Wasn't you?
I welded that. Don't look at that though.
Yeah,
That's
well, we'll blame the car on that one.
TIG welded it.
Man.
New weld.
Super fabricator. No, it looks good. All right, now let's see what happened to Pina's. So when I was driving this to the AC hose shop, the crank seal popped out on me.
Yeah.
This is a freshly built engine by somebody. I don't remember who he said.
I just bent it.
No, yeah. Just disclaimer, he was just showing me how hard it was.
But this bit, like hard.
Yeah, how about the lip on it?
The lip's
The
soft.
lip is flexible, but yeah.
So the new one also has like ridges right here.
Yeah.
Like angled ridges. This one, they're like smooth. They're
Well, I wonder if they got smooth from popping, from being it like put in, or it's just an aftermarket seal.
yeah, I don't know.
Because he was telling me that he's read some threads about the seals popping out of the LS motors with aftermarket ones.
Okay. I noticed
Me
this,
personally, I've never seen that, but if he asks for an OEM part, I'm not gonna argue with him.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully that means no more oil leaks.
Yeah, hopefully.
So OEM seal, and he had us powder coat the balancer while we had it off.
Yep.
So we did the textured black there. Cool. So what are you messing with on it right now?
I already finished the AC stuff.
Does it fit a lot better?
Yeah, not necessarily a lot better, but it's better.
Okay. Seems a little bit more dimensionally friendly there, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still tight in there, but it's better than right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Couldn't
think
really
that
change.
looks a lot better.
I put this a little bit tighter, but
Yeah.
I can't really do much with that.
Right.
It's either this one goes out or this goes like way up here.
Gotcha. Okay. I need to check on my piping for that to finish the intake.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it looks like, as long as we don't have any further complications, we can possibly start putting some more miles on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it needs turn signals and
right.
It's got brake lights, which are like really important.
So I guess check all the feasible links there.
Yeah.
Make sure that they have power going through, like they're not just burned up. If there's any open circuits, maybe we'll just convert it to a busman style fuse block. And then I know you said half the fuse box under the dash doesn't have power.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll have to double check.
So I would start with that. Start with the fuse links. So if you have power going through there on both sides,
yep.
I think my next step would be find which ones are dead. See if you can find the wires that go into the fuse box, and maybe just temporarily bring power to it. Just see if everything works. Like if all it is just missing power at the fuse box, we can just run a new wire to a fuse at the battery and just call it done. Well, slowly running out of stuff to do on this. We revised the intake to the exact design we did on Mr. Everson's. So that one's finished. Let's see, we cleaned up a bunch of wiring. We deleted the fusible link setup and ended up going with the MIDI fuse holder, which is, these are readily available either from O'Reilly's or AutoZone, or you can order them on Waytech. So this fuse box is actually available on our Amazon store. However, we would recommend going with name brand fuses because those are your electrical short protection / fire hazard avoiders. So I would not trust the Amazon fuses, but the fuse block itself is okay. So we got that squared away. Waiting on a red intake filter, so ignore the blue one for now. It's a placeholder. We revised the routing for the AC hoses to give it somewhat of a cleaner, more logical flow. We deleted the service port off of this and actually moved it to the firewall side. We gave this a 90-degree angle instead of a 45, so they both route under the booster and master cylinder through here. Just give it a kind of a cleaner look. I mean, it's AC stuff's already pretty intrusive, so we'll give it a little bit smaller of a footprint. We also tucked all of his wiring under the brake booster and the clutch master. Gave it a more hidden look, so it looks cleaner. Right now, Bo's working on getting the turn signals and hazards and everything working. More electrical lows, and we're putting a skillered map light setup in the back with a push button switch. And then Caleb is suffering on Miss Watts Fields yet again. It's just electrical problem after electrical problem. So, again, don't hire mobile mechanics to work on your stuff. Is that a Supra?
I know.
It looks just like Pina's.
Probably the same spec. His is auto too.
Yeah.
His car original twin turbo?
That I don't know. I feel like it was. Yeah.
Pina's is tan.
It's cozy.
You ever been in one of these before?
No, that's my first time.
I worked on a couple of them. Well, we got a Supra in for... I'm almost certain he wants to do... I think he wants an estimate for like mid-pipe and downpipe. Yeah. He wants a couple of gauges installed. Caleb did the downpipe and mid-pipe install on the Supra yesterday. Added an O2 bung. And then now he's cussing because we're doing gauges and electrical work.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Say that again.
I don't know how to work on Toyotas. They should be your car. You're certified.
I know.
Master Tech.
Yeah. Oh, expert.
Yeah.
This is master level. This is all you, buddy. So we didn't realize the customer had an AEM boost control and gauge. So it's a little bit more in depth. We're trying to at least get all the wiring out into the engine bay, and then we'll talk to him about what he wants to do because it's still in the factory ECU. We don't really want to raise a boost on it. We need to do a little bit more research. Unfortunately, the customer supplied all of his own parts, and that's one of the reasons that we typically recommend not supplying your own parts. You saved money, yes, but now you have to pay twice because this is a universal kit. It is not a Supra-specific A-pillar, and it fits like shit. So we're gonna approach the customer and let them know, hey, order a Supra one, and we have you come back and we'll swap it out. But at least they're wired, they work. Yeah, it just, you can see how much it doesn't fit. It's not for a Supra. Well, hell, let's start it up and hear this here son bitch. Sounds pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there is smoke coming out of the storm drains. And the fire department is down the street. Never a dull moment off Camp Bowie. I don't know if maybe a crack pipe got tossed in the storm drain, a loaf of meth, or whatever. But all of the storm drains up and down this street are smoking. See? Yep. Camp Bowie strikes again.
It wasn't me.
It's not Ryan on a cigarette break this time.
It wasn't me.
Alright, well, we did coilovers, and we did Stoptech rotors and EBC red stuff pads. We just didn't film any of it. So we just be busy like that sometimes.
It's not that we're too busy, it's that I was too fast.
Yeah, Caleb is just so fast. He's working on his master fabricator. Master certification. How's the exhaust sound?
I don't know, I haven't started the car.
Oh. Oh, it's got an X pipe, so it will probably not sound like shit. At least I hope not. VQs really need to have X pipes.
Well, it's got still, it has a couple resonators and it has another.
Yeah.
So hopefully not like an asshole.
We'll find out.
Are the coilovers too low?
I had to raise it back.
Is it going to sound like a trumpet? Let us know in the comments.
Louder than it was.
Yeah. Probably sounds a lot better like riding up and down the street. I think it's headers and test pipes that really make these things loud.
Please don't make me install headers.
I've been stalled. I only put headers in the rusty ass 205 all-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah. They're a lot easier on non-rusted, not all-wheel drive cars. Yeah, I'm surprised how quiet it is.
It's really quiet.
Yeah. I've heard really good things about NVIDIA exhausts. Just it's the first time somebody's wanted to pay us to put one on. Low car life. Sounds pretty good. Back here at least. Last month's vlog episode where we cranked and cranked and cranked, but this car wouldn't stay crunk. It had no compression on cylinders 1 through 3, so...
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
And it was the valves were hanging open, so...
Right now, it's been sitting for however long.
Yeah, we pressurized all of the lifters with a pressure tank, and they were hanging the valves open. And so we had no compression on 1 through 3. I had Bo pop the rocker arms off, and they sealed up. No leak down. This is a freshly built motor too, so initially we were like, oh shit.
Yep.
But so long story short, tried to keep this guy under budget by reusing the factory hydraulic lifters. We'll never do that again.
This is like the only one we've ever left,
it only takes one, because we've been successful before, but now that we've had this one bite us, I'm not going to offer it anymore. It's just, you know, either that or I'll put a disclaimer like, hey, if they hang open, you know.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't use these.
Right. So we're putting a Schneider Stage 2
I got everything kind
cam
of over there.
rocker arms, thicker lash pads. This is the same cam we put in Michael Parham's 280Z that has a decent little lope to it. So yeah, Bo's working on that now. So hopefully we'll, it was assembled this morning. So hopefully we'll hear it go vroom vroom maybe next week. I don't know, it's only Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next couple of days actually. So
Hey, get the fuel rail off so that...
yeah.
I'm gonna try and loosen it and see if I can snake it through. If I just kind of pull it over. Now I don't take all that off.
Yeah. Do you want to reiterate to our YouTube viewers that your Megasquirt was built correctly the first time on Zimmerman's?
It was, yeah.
You did your part?
I did my part. They don't know what they're doing.
So we're working on degreeing this cam right now.
I just put it back at TDC.
So we're going to do the centerline method.
Okay.
So pick one direction. You can go regular rotation. Rotate it until you see max lift on the dial indicator.
Max.
Okay. You went too far. Come back just a hair.
I just want to make sure it's still touching too.
Yeah. All right, that's your max lift.
Sorry.
Yeah, get it dialed in like right at max lift. All right. So now bring it back 50 thousandths.
Backwards.
The direction you came. So what is it at right now? It's about 44 thousandths.
I'll mark it.
I think you moved a little bit. Try not to jerk the engine either, because that will throw the reading off.
Yeah, we gotta be at max right now, so it's not moving.
So what's it at? Is that 44 thousandths? Or 45? I can't tell. 44 it looks like.
Yeah, right at 44.
All right, so
Is it back?
we can either, does this change our read? Yeah. So let's zero it. Okay. Dial it in at 50.
In reverse?
Yeah, yeah, back the way you came. Slowly bump it till you hit 50. All right, what's the degree wheel say?
Dead at 70.
70?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna take a calculator.
Calculate.
I got it. So 70. Then we're gonna do plus. So now go the opposite direction until you see max lift again. No, to the left this time. Like engine rotation, opposite direction that you originally went. Yeah.
So we see max lift?
Yeah, so we're going to rotate all the way around until the cam is at max lift again. All right.
Right there.
Okay. Now go to the right, 50 thousandths.
This way?
Yeah. All right. What's our reading?
150.
So you said 115 or 150?
150, exactly.
Okay, so 150. So that gives us 220.
Okay.
Right? Paying attention?
Yes.
So we have those two together, you divide it by 2. That gives us 110 degree intake center line.
Okay.
The cam card says it needs to be 112. Where is it? Yeah. Degree intake lobe to 112 degree center line.
Okay.
So, I don't know which direction we need to move it, but I would move it one notch and retest. And if it goes to 112, you went the right direction. If it goes to 108, you went the wrong direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how you degree it with the intake center line. This is a lot more accurate method because it accounts for piston rock and all that versus trying to do 50 thousandths lift. Sometimes you don't have a choice. 50 thousandths lift is a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the actual correct, like more accurate method.
Okay. So let me try and do it real quick and make sure I'm doing it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this, I know it's been a while since we broke a cam in, but we don't want to let it idle. Like keep the engine speed up basically like
Okay.
as soon as we get it running.
1500 2K or higher?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, 1500 2K. Help it burnish in. So one of these was broken. Maybe it's in Bo's magnetic tray. Hey, where did the broken lifter end up?
Let me find the jump box.
Maybe it's in mine. It sounds like it is. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's starting to clear up. Oh yeah. What was it?
Oil leak on the feed for the turbo.
Oh, nice. Well, hell yeah, it runs. It sounds like it hits on all six, too.
It sounds like it's all six. It's
Cool.
a cam, so it's going to be low.
Well, and it's fresh motor build. Timing may not be 100%. Fueling could be way... I mean, it's smoking, so it's probably pig rich.
Yeah.
Cool.
But it does run.
Well, let the battery charge, and
Okay.
maybe you want to mess with Pina's while this is charging for a couple hours, and maybe we'll regroup in the morning. Mr. Perks brought the Corvette back again. We put some Infinity reference speakers in it. Originally we were going to do all four. We did the fronts. One of the fronts was dead. It was crackling real bad. The rears already had some aftermarket Kenwoods. But we were going to put a set of Infinity reference 6x9s in the rear. And we bought two different sets. Both sets had magnets that were extremely large and would not fit in the body. But there was nothing wrong with the Kenwood, so at a certain point we were like, look, we can either go with aftermarket boxes that may or may not flow well with the car, or we can just put the Kenwoods back in and tune it accordingly. And so he was happy with option number 2, so we did that. And he's ready for pickup. This SC300 has been on our lot for a little bit now. We are going to be putting an ECU Masters plug-and-play ECU and harness. We're going to be putting a ECU Masters plug-and-play ECU with the adapter harness to convert the factory harness to an EMU black. We got parts on the way from that, and in fact ECU Masters USA is based out of Garland, which is about 45 minutes away from here, so that's coming down the pike. You can see Mr. Johnson is back. He's back for his 500-mile checkup for his engine build. And it being summer, he wants a properly functioning air conditioning system. So we're getting ready to put a vintage air system in this. We got all the parts here. We're just going to work it into the schedule probably early next week. So this is going to be getting a modern vintage air system. We got us an Audi S5 in for some brakes. And Mr. Young is back for his 100-mile checkup. No, we already did his 100-mile checkup. We're putting an AC condenser in this thing because he ain't gonna drive this without AC. This one's on its way to getting wrapped up. So on these vintage air systems, if you're doing a OEM-ish setup, something to keep in mind is a lot of the times the factory pressure sensor will either leak or not work or whatever. We still have yet to find a decent pressure sensor. So we adapted an OEM one from a different model, and we had to JB weld the fitting into the dryer to get it to not leak. But so far it blows cold. Caleb's working on getting the fan wired to when the compressor comes on. The fan comes on so you get good AC condenser airflow. We're warrantying this because the guy that used to work here that powder coated this did it wrong, and it had a really bad reaction. So we're coating a completely new valve cover, which is over here. Looks really good. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Alrighty, we're getting Mr. Johnson's wrapped up, and we did a vintage air system this visit. This visit also consisted of the 100-mile checkup. We drained the oil, cut the filter open, inspected it. Actually, this was the 500-mile checkup. We drained the oil, inspected it, cut the filter open. You know, just verify our work with the engine build. All looks good there. We warranted the powder coating on the valve cover, the one that was on the car. I guess it had some corrosion built up on the aluminum. Even though we cleaned it as best we could, it had a weird reaction, and it started flaking away real bad, so we replaced that for him. I just powder coated it, or I had Christian powder coat another valve cover. So that's on there. Now, you may remember that we talked about the hellacious whistling noise that this Protunerz throttle body made. Now, just for a quick recap, Protunerz sent out a quote-unquote fix kit that replaced the seal behind the throttle position sensor. That didn't fix it. So, you know, we felt the only option really was to just get another throttle body. If supposedly he had some revised throttle bodies, so he eventually got Protunerz to send him another throttle body, and he installed that, and the whistle was still there. So from what the customer told me, I think he said that at that point they were really hard to get a hold of for a solution, and he never really got made whole. Again, just disclaimer, I'm just telling you guys what the customer told me. I don't have an official opinion on this matter because it's not my business. But what the customer ended up doing is, inside this throttle body, there's a PCV port and a idle air control valve port. And we tried radiusing those and giving it something of a chamfer to alleviate some of that whistling noise, and it alleviated some of it, but it changed the tone, and it also changed where it would come in. So he ended up filling that with epoxy, which is something that got brought up in conversation when the car was originally with us, but we didn't want to do that because what'll happen, or what could happen, we hope it doesn't, but if that epoxy ever breaks loose, it gets ingested by the engine, and then now you just bent a valve or punched a hole in the piston or whatever. And so, since that was a potential failure point, you know, we can't stand behind that type of repair, so it wasn't on the table for us. But, you know, customer chose to do that on his own accord, so, you know, that's his choice. But it fixed his whistle, so the car doesn't whistle anymore. Looks like we're getting another flyby. I think we've talked about it before. We have a military base right around the corner from us. F-35s, F-16s, F-18s. And the base shares a runway or two with Lockheed. Got a surprise for y'all. Pierce Brosnan stopped by. Wants his sport valves jammed open. Pretty car. Alright, Alright, so here's what it sounds like stock. Alright. It sounded like the sport valves opened for a sec and then closed again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how aggressive you hit the pedal.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's a pretty car.
I've always loved it. If I ever won the lottery, I would.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd become back to middle class by owning one of these.
Pretty much.
Repair costs. The street. It's a really pretty car.
Dual clutches.
Yeah.
Very dual clutchy.
You have like a AI German version. It's like
An AI what?
AI German version.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Or just find a Top Gear clip of this car. Yeah.
I know it's a slow ass transmission.
It does sound badass. And this one, Mr. Ludwig, Caleb's been diligently working with it, putting ball joints in it, control arm bushings. You can't get the OEM ones anymore, so we put energy suspension bushings, front sway bar links. Rebuilt the transmission. We originally were just going to do the transmission fluid service. You know, just get everything up to snuff, and he pulled the drain plug and there was like thick metal chunks in it, so he authorized us to go ahead and pull it apart, and we found a bearing cage blown out. Yeah, one of the countershaft bearings, the cage had blown out, started leaving chunks in the case, so we did all new bearings, all new synchros, all new seals. Caleb just wrapped up Mr. Ludwig's car. It got a rebuilt transmission, we did a bunch of brake hoses, some other mechanicals, a new master cylinder, and he's out of town, so we're hoping he's going to pick up sometime next week. Doing some ball joints on this metallic 240Z. He was in for, we corrected all the fuel system hoses a couple weeks ago, so he's back for some ball joints now. He's going to slowly piece together stuff on his. It's been a little light on content this month. We've just been so busy. I've been so busy doing all these other different things. I haven't really had time to focus on actually vlogging. But yeah, still got quite a bit of stuff going on. If anybody's looking to get rid of a first-gen Tundra with a V8 in it in exchange for a Jeep, Bo's trying to trade this Jeep outright for somebody with a first-gen Toyota Tundra like that, 4x4. It's July. It's hot as hell. And we're closing out another month. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we will be pulling Mr. Whitfield's back in. We got the revised axles from Apex. I have all of my brake hoses in, so ideally the next time we pull this in, we're done installing all of the Apex parts, and we'll just be waiting on a drive shaft for the transmission. And then we've got some interior work to do, and then hit the key and start it up, see what happens. Mr. Pina's is really, really close to going home. We are trying to fix a driveline vibration right now in the rear. It's got a really excessive vibration above 80 miles an hour. I mean, bad. And so I didn't catch the film when we had it up in the air, but we shimmed the front of the diff upwards and the rear of the cross member downwards to give the diff some upward rake. It was like the angles were just way off. We had like 3.8 degrees drive shaft angle. The transmission is already as low as it can go with the Apex Engineered cross member without getting a shorter mount, which I still may do. Or we're going to try to jack the motor up a little bit more with the Dirty Dingo engine mounts to see if we can get the whole engine and transmission to tilt further back to reduce that driveline angle. So same with Mr. Everson's. We got the Apex fender braces on. I've got a minor driveline vibration on this we're trying to work out. We just had all these cars like just stuck on the lifts. So this one, I'm going to measure the angle, but I think the diff is just too high because this is the factory R200, and we put a Technotoy Tuning front differential mount, and it hits the diff case, so we had to shim it up with some washers to get it to clear just for now. But I think that's what's causing the vibration. It's minor, but it definitely vibrates above 80 miles an hour. And then this purple 280Z that's been here for a while, this is owned by Mr. Morse. We should be receiving a crate of CNC ported heads back from Elspec, and his is one of them. So we're going to get ramping up on that engine build pretty soon. This Z32 came to us earlier this month. I've been a little lazy on filming because we've been so busy. It came from a body shop. It sat there for like 2 or 3 years or something like that, and just basically we got it to start up and run, and we're just changing all the fluids. We're going to hang the exhaust on as soon as he brings it to us. We're putting a new coil rad radiator in it because the one that's in there is full of rust, and we don't trust it with a what we think is a freshly built motor. So we're going to flush all the rust out of the engine, put a new thermostat in it, put a fresh radiator, new shroud, get it back to the way it needs to be. So maybe sometime next week this thing rolls. One of the CNC ported heads that came back is going to be for this car. We're building a 3.2 stroker for it. Full Apex front and rear control arms, full Technotoy Tuning brakes front and rear. We're doing an OS Geiken limited slip. Doing a whole bunch of different goodies. Mr. Young, we got his air conditioning working. It's blowing cold. We restored the factory system after we built his motor, so he's good for his next 500-mile stretch. So anyways, now that Zimmerman's is finally running, ideally it moves under its own power next week, and then that means I can start playing with the tune and breaking the engine in. We can go get it aligned, and Bo can finally put the GT30 on Mr. Cleland's car. Thanks for waiting longer than initially expected, but he watches our vlogs and he sees all the shit we deal with, so thanks. Finally, Miss Wattsfield's, we got all of the electrical stuff working finally, all of it. There's nothing that doesn't work on this car anymore. It's overdue for a car wash because it's really nasty. So I'm gonna take it home, wash it up real good, and then I just gotta tune it, and then it is ready to finally go home to Arkansas. Mr. Bonnet decided it was a good time to do a vintage air system. So we're actually gonna break ground on it today, and it'll be another 240Z that we do a complete vintage air system, and it has ice cold AC when it leaves. As always, we appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, comment, interact with us, and most of all, subscribe. Depending on the video, we notice that sometimes our non-subscriber percentage of viewers is up to like 70%. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us get more content out to you guys. It also is going to help us inch closer and closer to monetization. We're this close. We are within like 500 average watch hours of getting monetized finally. So we appreciate all you guys watching so much. It's been awesome seeing the growth of this YouTube channel, and we want to do more, but we need to get some monetization going so that we can afford to invest more resources in this stuff. So that's it for July. We'll see you next month. Thanks again.